Hi, my name is Rebecca. Welcome to Carnivore Wellness. In today's video, I want to talk about the main reasons that the carnivore diet is a fundamentally healing approach to health and wellness. The main foundational principle of the carnivore diet and why it works so well is because it is the ultimate anti-inflammatory diet. When we remove all of the toxins, all of the environmental pollutants, all of the sources of inflammation that our bodies get through food especially, we are able to then allow our body's immune systems to recalibrate and reach a state of calm so that instead of constantly going on the attack and constantly having to work to undo the damage that is coming in a huge onslaught of challenge for the body, we are able to give our bodies the time and space to heal. So for many of us coming from standard American diets, things like processed foods, the high fructose corn syrups, the seed oils especially, all of these things can be really inflammatory to our systems. And when we eliminate those things, including the elimination of plants, as we come to find out in our study of the carnivore diet, lots of plants, all plants have inflammatory components and properties, anti-nutrients that inflame the body. So when we eliminate the processed foods from the standard American diet, when we go so far as to eliminate the plants, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, those sorts of plants and all of the inflammatory properties that they have out of our diets, then we are able to gift our body the ability to reset and reach a state of calm so that real deep healing and repair can occur. So many people look at the carnivore diet as the ultimate anti-inflammatory diet, the ultimate elimination diet. When we just eat meat, a fully supportive, complete source of nutrition with all of the essential fatty acids, amino acids, everything that we need as far as protein, fat, and providing our bodies with energy. When we give our bodies just meat, we are eating the most anti-inflammatory way possible. So when we experience inflammation in the body, that is where we end up feeling dis-ease, and that's where the diseases come from. Chronic disease comes from chronic inflammation. So in calming that inflammation, we reduce our risks and our experiences of chronic disease. So inflammation often begins in the gut, which, if you think about it, makes total sense. As you ingest various toxins and pollutants from your food or the environment, that most of that is processed in the gut. So many of us can develop, digestive systems that are compromised in their ability to function effectively and efficiently. Many of us end up even experiencing leaky gut or other forms of gut dysregulation, be that, SIBO or Crohn's or, ulcerative colitis or any just kind of chronic constipation or things like that can be an indicator that we have an inflamed digestive system and that we are in need of intensive gut healing. So when that inflammation comes in and our guts are compromised, then the tiny junctures in the endothelial cells between, the lining of the gut, there become these openings, and that can lead to things that should not be getting directly into our bloodstream. It can lead to those particles actually going into our bloodstream, traveling throughout our body, and that, of course, serves as a key source of inflammation. When our bodies are not able to keep out these toxins or these particles that should not be in other places in our body except, going through the digestive system, then we experience that inflammation. So when we have inflammation in the gut, that directly affects our mental functioning. So things like brain fog, lack of clarity, and, even mood disorders, anxiety, depression, even, there are other carnivores who have reported even a more extensive range of mental health issues that are resolved on carnivore because they experience that reduction in inflammation in their gut, which translates into reduced inflammation in the brain. There is a gut-brain axis that scientists have really come in the last several years to understand, plays a key part in the functioning of our mental health. A lot of neurotransmitters that are used in the brain as signals for the brain are produced in the gut, and they travel along the vagus nerve. So there is a direct line of communication from your stomach, from your gut, into the brain. And that signaling pathway determines a lot of how we feel. That's also, in a sense, where cravings come from. In our minds, we're craving something, but that is because we are getting signals from our gut, perhaps an overgrowth of the wrong kind of microbiota in your gut system, cueing your brain to want to have more of those foods that then feed that bacteria. So there's definitely a connection between our mental health and the inflammation in our gut. So again, if we eat an anti-inflammatory diet, we allow our guts to heal, and that promotes mental health and clarity, a reduction in brain fog, and an increase in our mental faculties. Widespread inflammation can also lead to a lot of autoimmune issues. So when the widespread inflammation takes place on a broader scale, the body goes into a mode of attacking itself in some ways. Not all the time, but when our immune system kind of gets out of control and is revved up in a manner that is not commensurate with the amount of inflammation coming in, our bodies start to respond with autoimmune conditions. And that's how you can get things like the skin issues, psoriasis or eczema, or even, autoimmune conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, that achiness in the joints, and kind of your body not being able to function and feel its best, on into further, autoimmune conditions like Crohn's disease and, even hypothyroidism. These are all forms of the body attacking itself as it is trying to negate all of the inflammation as a result of those incoming pollutants and aggravants that the body is having to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So it's really the autoimmune issues spring up as a result of inflammation that really kind of runs out of control. And one of the best ways to address long-standing autoimmune conditions is to treat the underlying inflammation. And the way to do that is to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. There are other lifestyle measures, sure, that are complementary to that. Anything that kind of helps to calm the nervous system is a big component of helping heal autoimmune conditions. But the foundation for trying to calm that immunity, especially in the more immediate future, is to alter your diet and remove all of the things that your body finds inflammatory. This can then allow you to have pain-free living. One of the things that many new carnivores note is a very quick resolution of joint pain and achiness in the body. And essentially, they are just no longer experiencing inflammation, something that they took as, just a given, old age, that they're going to have aches and pains as they grow older. Does not have to be the case. Instead, you can live pain-free. And again, it all circles back to allowing the body to be in a healed state, living without chronic inflammation. Now, this inflammation, as you lower it, translates over into being hormonally supportive. So as we lower inflammation, we also lower the cortisol response in our body. Now, we all know cortisol as the stress hormone. Now, it's not totally bad. We do still need it. We have low levels of cortisol that start to rise in the morning to help us gently wake up and begin the day. And of course, a shot of cortisol in a, fight or flight situation that is appropriate can really help save our lives. If we need to outrun something or get out of the way fast or quickly pay attention to, a dangerous situation, that spike in cortisol can really allow us to hone in on our senses and our attention to make sure that we are preserving ourselves and surviving. So it's very key. It's not all bad, but when the cortisol levels become too high or are chronically high, then that results in more stress in the body. And one of the things about higher cortisol is higher cortisol results in higher insulin levels. The two of those have a direct relationship with one another. So as cortisol goes up, so does insulin. Now, insulin is the fat storage hormone. When you have high levels of insulin in your body is going to store nutrients. It is going to store fat. When you have high levels of insulin, your body is unable to tap into the energy stores that are stored on the body in the form of fat and use that for energy. So as we have high cortisol, we have high insulin levels, and those two together can then lead to increased hormonal dysregulation. Cortisol is one of those hormones that will always take precedent in formation over other hormones, especially the sex hormones, which are formed further downstream in the pathway of hormone development. So if we need to have high cortisol, or if the body perceives that we need to have high cortisol levels to maintain an appropriate level of functioning, then we do not have enough of the cholesterol backbone in our bodies to produce the other hormones that are necessary for optimal functioning. Now, if we don't have proper regulation of our sex hormones, then that leads to things like fertility issues, PMS, in men, low testosterone, which of course has its span of, contraindicated results in just the way that they feel and function. So it's really important to make sure that we have cortisol levels and insulin levels that are in an optimal range. And generally that's going to be much lower on a carnivore diet than it is on a very inflammatory standard American diet, or even a diet that continues to include inflammatory foods such as plants and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, seeds, etc., things of that nature. So as we lower the cortisol and lower the insulin, we enable hormonal balance to take place, not just in the sex hormones, but also in the regulation of, all of the other hormones that need to form throughout the day. So our satiety and hunger hormones, our leptin and our ghrelin, and even our sleep hormones, melatonin, at the end of the day, that allows us to get good sleep. So as we lower the cortisol and lower the insulin together with this anti-inflammatory way of eating, we are able to improve our hormonal balance all around, and that affects every facet of your life. Every bit of your health is, wrapped up and dictated by your hormonal functioning. So it is absolutely imperative that hormonal functioning is, acting according to the way that your body is intended to. So for a lot of women who come to carnivore, seeking regulation of their hormones, they are able to find that, and even find that they're able to regain fertility after having lost that. Or perhaps they put their PCOS into remission and no longer have to deal with those symptoms of hormonal dysregulation. Men find that they feel better, that their sexual functioning is improved, that their hair grows in better, and that they feel better. They're able to better tack on more muscle, and that's all very key and very important. But then for all of us as humans, regardless of our biological sex, we need to make sure that we are allowing these other hormones to function well, satiety and appetite, and then of course our sleep. So as we start to get better sleep at night, which is another noticeable improvement that many carnivores find early on in their journeys, that allows the body to go into a state of healing and repair at night when we sleep. That's absolutely vital for our bodies to be able to reach a place of optimal health. We have to have the rest in order for the body to do the work of repair. And again, eating an anti-inflammatory carnivore diet allows us to do that in a way that is natural and that helps allow our bodies to reach a state of hormonal balance. And then, of course, as you are sleeping better and as your hormone levels are regulated, that also in turn helps regulate our appetite and our, cues for either needing to eat or being satiated. And that is one of the wonderful benefits of a carnivore diet, is that you are able to eat until satiety, and then you get those cues, you get that feedback that your body is totally good and fully nourished. And the body recomposition that takes place as a result of that is simply a beautiful side effect of living in a healed body that is repaired and free of widespread chronic inflammation. So many folks come to a carnivore diet, often from a ketogenic diet, because they want to experience, the significant weight loss that so many carnivores find as they start this way of eating. And that will happen for most people, I would say, in pretty much all situations, especially if you have a significant amount of weight to lose. And in living in a healed body and living in a body with lower cortisol, with lowered insulin, because you're not constantly getting the sugar spikes, all day into the evening and, dysregulating your hormones, you then are able to feel, satiated. You're able to tune into your hunger cues, and that body recomposition happens naturally. That is one of the best, takeaways of a carnivore diet is that you can live in a good, strong, lean body and not be hungry and not be, in distress, not be tired or fatigued or aching because you've been having to push yourself or something in extreme areas to find weight loss. It is something that happens as a result of living in a healed body. And overall, a well-functioning body has a much lower risk of chronic disease. We touched on this earlier. Widespread inflammation leads to chronic disease. If we don't want to have to battle things like diabetes, obesity, cancer, and a myriad of autoimmune conditions that can result from inflammation, then we can simply choose to eat an anti-inflammatory diet that supports our bodies in the ways that they are designed to be supported so that our hormones are regulated and in balance, and so that we are able to tune into the feedback our body gives us so that we can navigate what it is we need to do each and every day to support ourselves in feeling our best. Now, one of the best selling points of carnivore is it is so simple and straightforward. You simply eat meat, and that's it. You eat meat, repeat. We hear that a lot. There are some subtle nuances here and there, especially as you dive into your carnivore journeys a bit further. But when you're just getting started, it is as simple as eat meat and animal products and leave out everything else. Leave out the seed oils, leave out the plants, leave out the nuts, leave out, all the healthy things that we've been taught are superfoods that really are not, but are actually full of anti-nutrients. Leave those things out. And of course, leave out the processed foods, the dyes, the artificial sweeteners. Kick all of that to the curb and focus on eating meat and animal products. Always check ingredients. Always be sure that you know what is in your food, and make sure that the majority of your food intake is coming from fatty meat. If you do that, you are good to go. Simple and straightforward with very clear guidelines of what to eat and what not to eat. This allows you to take control of your health. We live in a world today where we go to the doctor and we're prescribed multiple medications, and they all have these side effects and conflicting, results. And do they actually, help benefit us? Really and truly, we're at a time in our society's growth where we need to take back ownership of our health. We need to take back responsibility for how we will be in the world. And by taking control of our health, we can direct how our lives are going to go. We don't have to just sit back and be a victim and wait for something to happen to us in terms of our health. We can instead be proactive and preventative in warding off all sorts of diseases and conditions that are unpleasant, at the very least, to deal with, and possibly detrimental to our longevity. And instead, we can live in healed bodies with the confidence that we are doing the very best for ourselves and living optimally. And also, not to mention, carnivore meals are absolutely delicious and totally satisfying. Think about the last time you sat down to a hearty breakfast of eggs and bacon, maybe a little sausage and omelet. Absolutely delicious, totally satisfying. Or think about the last time you ate a juicy ribeye, maybe with a little pat of butter smeared on top, melting over the side, salted a bit. That is so delicious. These foods are completely amazing, so satisfying. It's not like other diets where you get to the end of your huge, gigantic salad with a full belly of bloat and you're still kind of hungry and wishing you had more. This is one of those diets that is totally satisfying with delicious foods that you get to eat each and every day. And that makes it so simple and straightforward. There's a wide range of health benefits that come from this way of eating, and they all stem from the fact that this diet is anti-inflammatory and hormonally supportive. If you still have any doubts and you want to go further, then I would recommend that you come over to the Carnivore Wellness community and check out some of the free resources that I have there for new carnivores. One of which is the free e-course called Commit to Carnivore, in which I go through all of the information that you need in order to figure out how to get started on the carnivore diet and to do so with confidence and with a plan. So if you're interested in that, please check out the link below that I'll put in the description box. And if you want to take it a step further and you want more accountability, support, and guidance in your carnivore diet journey, I would strongly encourage you to sign up for the monthly commitment. In this monthly commitment space, I host 3 weekly meetings that are essentially small group coaching sessions where you get accountability and support and encouragement, inspiration and hope, not just from me, but from other members in the group who are at various points in their own carnivore diet journeys. This sense of community goes a long way to help foster that sense of identity that is really key for habit formation and creating a sustainable lifestyle that feels supportive and enriching. So if that sounds like something for you, please click those links down below to check that out. I would love to see you over there in the carnivore wellness space. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope it's been informative and helpful for you as you navigate the real foundational reason that the carnivore way of eating is optimal for health, healing, and overall well-being. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.